Well, hello and good morning. Welcome to Old People This Week, the podcast. My name is Jeff, that handsome rascal there. That's Mike, and we are your hosts.
Morning,
Um,
Jeff.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Good morning, everyone.
This podcast is for people who are 60 and older. We don't want any youngsters. This is not for them. This is for people of our age who are older and hip and wise and smart like us. If you subscribe to the I'm Fallen and Can't Get Up School of Aging, this podcast probably isn't for you. Every week, Mike and I give you all the information, the dirt, the news stories that you need to know as you head into the weekend so that you can sound smart with your friends as you take coffee or you play golf or, of course, when you're at happy hour.
Most
That's where Mike
important.
and I get all of our good information. Yeah,
Most important.
exactly. Most important. Um, this week we have a lot to go through, and the first thing is, of course, I've started off every show with a report on our good friend Gary Turner, the Golden Bachelor. Mike, you had some news. Lay
Big
it out for
news,
us.
breaking news. As our loyal followers probably have surmised by now, you and I live somewhere in the sunny reaches of Southern California. And it just happens that the Golden Bachelor, if you believe the pre-press, the Golden Bachelor nuptials are going to be held at the La Quinta Resort in La Quinta, California. So the wedding apparently is going to happen on the Thursday, which would be the normal day of the broadcast for the Golden Bachelor, which I think is the 4th, January 4th, something like that.
Yeah, it'll be live that night, or at least live at the East Coast, live to tape out here in the West. And did you receive your invitation yet from Gary?
I keep going to the mailbox.
Gary's running out of time to get out of this wedding
Yeah,
here. He's going to have to really figure out something quick if he's going to be able to try to worm his way out of getting married to Teresa, but it looks like it's going to happen. And you and I are going to try to be there. We're going to actually try to go to the event site and worm our way in or somehow crash that wedding. We'll see.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I can't shake this information we saw recently from the article in the New York Post on the infamous Page 6 gossip column about what a cad Gary really is or was. And I just keep wondering if in the time now that he and Teresa have been together, getting to know each other before the wedding, if he's charging her $200 a month to be with him or whatever it was with the old girlfriend.
Yeah. There's the I just read an article on the American version of the British tabloid The Sun.
Yeah.
They got in touch with one of Leslie's kids.
Ah,
Leslie being the woman who Gary unceremoniously booted out of his life.
yeah.
And this particular family member was not pleased about Gary. He was pretty bitter and basically calling Gary a liar and that he would have said whatever he needed to say for the television show, and regardless of how it was going to make Leslie feel. So
Sure.
he's got a bad rep. He's got to
Yeah.
overcome now.
Yeah.
And I started to do research on what kind of, not only what are the traits of people that are the best suited to staying together or married for a long time. And I came across these animals that mate for life.
Obviously, humans are
And
excluded.
yeah, well, these are good examples though, for us humans. The first is are wolves. Wolves are what they mate with the other alpha. So the alpha wolf, the head of the pack, is going to mate with the alpha female, and then they run things and they stay together as a tightly knit leaders of the pack. So wolves are one.
Okay.
Number two is beavers, and they are described as they mate with someone who will help share the responsibilities, share the workload of gnawing on the wood that the beavers do. So they mate with someone who will help them, but it's sharing is caring. So that's another trait. So there's wolves and beavers,
Okay.
mate for life. Yeah, the third is gibbons. And that's I believe that's an ape.
Yeah.
And the couples that sing together stay together was the way they're described, because evidently the gibbons sing duets when they share intimate moments. They sing, meaning they as they're grooming each other.
Singing monkeys.
The fourth is a California mice who resist temptation. An overwhelming majority of mice remain loyal to their partner when placed with another mouse under laboratory conditions. So, living a normal life, we're not in lab conditions, but
Yeah.
we're expected to stay with our mates regardless. It's like California mice do. The next is shingleback lizards. Slow-moving lizards return to the same partner year after year for the mating season, which implies that, by the way, they're not together
The rest of
unless
the
it's a
time.
mating season.
Yeah. Actually, that sounds like a formula for success.
Yeah,
Get together
yeah,
once a year.
that does actually. Yeah, I'll see you, honey, for the
Yeah.
mating season. It's 3 months. I don't know if
Yeah.
that would go over very well,
Yeah. Try
but it
that
does
one out
sound
and
good.
let me know. Yeah.
The next one is a Diplozoon paradoxum, which is a flatworm. And after mating, the two individuals become permanently fused as a single H-shaped specimen. So, like it or not, if you're a flatworm, once you've mated, you're not going anywhere.
Pardon the pun, but you're screwed.
Yeah, literally screwed together. And finally, there are the black vultures. Now, black vultures are not, necessarily friendly characters, but they are monogamous. And if they're not, if a partner is caught philandering in public, the rest of the flock will turn on them with a brutal attack, forcing them to retreat to the marital nest, and in the process dissuading any other vultures from considering infidelity in the future. So if you're a black vulture and you try screwing around on your mate, the rest of the vultures will attack you brutally and force you back into the marital nest. All right. All right, that's it. We'll get more into that Golden Bachelor next in a couple of weeks here as the wedding gets closer. We'll be following this,
Yeah.
as we always do. The next story is the word of the year that you sent me, which just I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
The
Who knew?
Oxford, yeah, who knew? The Oxford University Press, the world's second oldest academic press and publisher of the Oxford English Dictionary, has coined or named the word of the year, and it is, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll,
Drum
please,
roll.
RIZZ,
Riz.
RIZZ. So, at least for us, the rest of us over a certain age, we don't have it. But RIZZ is sort of a slang for a style, charm, or attractiveness, or the ability to attract a romantic or sexual partner. So if you have RIZZ, then you're in our parlance, you're hip.
You're hip. Gary had Riz, apparently.
Gary,
Gary
Gary
and
Turner has
Teresa
RIZZ.
had Riz. Yeah.
Yeah, let's look at the two of them. That's true. They're right. So they shouldn't say that people over a certain age can't have RIZZ, because
Yeah.
we know the Golden Bachelor has RIZZ. And RIZZ is the shortened form of the word charisma, which emerged out of internet and gaming culture, according to Oxford. And it was popularized by a YouTube and Twitch streamer with an unpronounceable name that I'm not even going to try to pronounce.
Yeah.
And this guy would give RIZZ tips online. So maybe I'll find him. His name, I'll spell his name. First name is Kai, Kai, and his last name is, I think it's Sanat, Cetnat. N-A-T, or Senate. But at any rate, I will put his name in the on the podcast, and you can look him up.
Yeah,
RIZZ. We got the RIZZ. Yeah, it's crazy. And you know what else has RIZZ is cottage cheese, which brings us to our next
absolutely.
thing we wanted to talk about.
It's delicious.
So cottage cheese, you know, it's been around since probably the medieval days. It seems like it.
Pre-refrigeration.
And when I was growing up, my mother, yeah, didn't need it. My mother had it around, so it's been around at least in my lifetime since the 50s.
Yeah.
And it's gotten popular again. Do you eat it?
Yeah, I love it. It's healthy, and it's like a meal all in one little carton. Couple of bites and you're out the door. But you can cook with it. It's great.
Yeah, but but I can't eat it because it has a lot of sodium. It's kind of like bread, as this guy from this Harvard School of Public Health said. It's one of those hidden things. Like, hey, I never realized it had so much sodium. So people with high blood pressure, me, may want to limit how much cottage cheese they consume.
Yeah, if I can get that much protein and no sugar, then I'll do a trade-off for a little salt. And I don't eat that much of it that I have to worry about it.
Well, I'm going to try it now. My wife usually has it around. I'm going to try it. Here's some weird cottage cheese recipes. There's this person, Tonya Spanglo, who's does these very popular called Water Talk recipes. Shared videos in which cottage cheese was the prominent player. One of them was for a pizza cottage cheese bowl, which involves a scoop of fat-free cottage cheese mixed with marinara, shredded mozzarella, and Italian seasoning, and topped with turkey, pepperoni, and chopped peppers.
It actually,
that sounds delicious.
Well, it actually doesn't sound too bad. It's kind of like
the other thing was the cottage cheese pancakes.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good way to add moisture to a recipe without butter or whatever.
Moisture.
So, yeah.
The other article I read that I thought that would be interesting to our listeners and our viewers is these signs of cognitive decline, which, as we are aging,
yes,
we should be aware of. And these are, number one, memory problems, mixed up words, confusion, aggression, irritability, anxiety, inexplicable behavior, poor self-care, poor housekeeping, and a change in financial habits. By the way, I have all of those.
I was going to say, that sounds like a conversation with your wife. When I say, how's Jeff?
Right. I have memory problems. I mix up words. I get confused. I get aggressive, especially on the highway. I'm irritable 24 hours a day, anxious, inexplicable behavior, which my wife would attest to, poor self-care, housekeeping, and changing financial habits. So my financial habits probably haven't changed. I'm still pretty cheap as always.
You did buy a sports car, so you're okay. You're still qualified.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's the change in financial habits they're talking about.
Yeah.
When you suddenly go out and buy a sports car.
You tick all the boxes.
I do. Those are the signs of cognitive decline, and you should be wary and look out for them. And if I honestly don't think it's very strange for people of our age level to have any of them have a lot of those.
At our age, we have the luxury of being a bit more selective about what we choose to hear or listen to, or where we want to go, or what we want to wear. So any of those measurements could all be cognitive decline, or they could be that we are just a little more irascible.
Yeah. I mean, bottom line is, I'm still working technically, but I don't go into the office every day. So poor self-care is part and parcel of my life. I'm not worried about it. And poor housekeeping is, I was a poor housekeeper. I'm neat, but I'm not, but I don't stress over it.
Yeah, it's like, how could they tell?
You suffer from some of these. I know you do.
I do.
Mike. So and always our unending fascination with all things Florida. There was a woman in Florida who was arrested for stabbing her husband with rabies needles because he allegedly looked at other women. Um, so I went and looked it up, and you and I had been goofing in there that, or I had said that, why is she giving needle? Why was she giving shots to her dog? Why is that why she had the needles? That's not what it was. It was actually the husband had been exposed to another rabid dog, and then she was supposed to be giving him the shots, or he was supposed to be giving himself the shots that he'd gotten prescribed because in order for him to not get rabies from some, it wasn't a dog in their house with rabies, but it was just as stupid because she went berserk with it anyways and tried to stab him because he was looking at other women. I'll have to show her picture again. She's a darling. All right. So, at any rate, I'm going to go and it's pretty scary. I'm going to sign off. And Mike, I will talk to you soon. And have a good weekend. And remember, no sense makes sense.